They zipped up the body bag and tagged it with my name. Not metaphorically, literally. I stood 20 feet away, tucked behind the splintered remains of a flip delivery van, knees locked, lungs burning, watching through a shattered mirror as the tag fluttered in the wind. Michael Landry, written in thick Sharpie like some low-budget tombstone. But here's the thing, Michael Landry doesn't exist. Not really. He was the name I gave Strytech Holdings when I signed their bloated onboarding contract. A paper version of me, with no past, no parents, no permanent address. Just a P.O. box, a high school diploma I faked online, and a willingness to scrub toilets and haul boxes for $11 an hour. And for 6 months, it worked. Nobody asked questions, nobody looked too close. Until tonight. It started like any other mind-numbing late shift. I stayed behind to finish inventory in Sector B, same as always. Kareem, the supervisor with TED Talk energy and crocodile smiles, gave me a thumbs up as he left, told me to lock up. Said it with that same tone people use when they say, "See ya Monday," never realizing Monday won't come. I never planned to open the conference room door. I swear to God, it was supposed to be locked, always was. But tonight, it hung slightly ajar. And inside, dimly lit, screen still humming, was a laptop. Not mine, not Kareem's, not anyone I'd ever seen. Plugged into it, a USB drive. I don't know what made me touch it. Curiosity? Stupidity? Some part of me, so beaten down and overlooked my whole life, whispering, if you want to be someone, take something. So I took it. I didn't even look at the files. I just slipped it into my hoodie and stepped back out into the hallway. That's when the power cut. That's when the radio started crackling. That's when I ran. I never saw the man they shot until after he hit the ground. Just a flash of movement near the docks, a flashlight beam catching a glimpse of a janitor's uniform, and then pop, pop, pop. 3 shots like punctuation marks on the end of my life. I don't know his name. I'll never know his name. But they zipped him up fast, dumped my badge next to the body, and called it a wrap. And here's the part that still makes my stomach twist. They didn't flinch. The security team, the suits, the guy in the earpiece barking orders like he was calling in an airstrike, they all treated it like Tuesday, like protocol, like killing a man was just a minor correction in the company flowchart. I was supposed to die tonight. No headlines, no investigation, just a glitch, a footnote, a ghost in a spreadsheet. But I'm not dead. And that means I'm a problem. They don't know I saw the flight manifest, the offshore accounts, the names tied to project codes that sound like military operations. They don't know that one of those names, buried in a doc labeled host/beta, was mine. They think the problem's solved. They think Michael Landry is zipped up, bagged, and burning in some untraceable crematorium by sunrise. But I'm still breathing. And I'm not Michael anymore. I'm the mistake they'll never stop running from. I walked 4 miles before I realized I was still holding the USB. Fingers numb, adrenaline drained, hoodie soaked through from sweat and something that might have been blood. I didn't know if it was mine. I didn't want to know. Every car that passed, every flicker of a street lamp overhead made me flinch like I was still on company property, still in their kill zone. I ducked into a closed laundromat, pried the lock off the back with a tire iron I'd found in a dumpster, and collapsed behind a row of dryers that smelled like scorched plastic and forgotten lint sheets. That's where I finally looked at the drive. No password, no encryption, just arrogance. Folder after folder, all labeled in blunt acronyms that made my skin crawl. XEN1, RET sync, host/beta. And then, one marked Echo. Inside were documents, video files, internal memos dated 6 months back. One clip started autoplaying before I could even stop it. A conference room, poor lighting. And Kareem, my supervisor, TED Talk socks and all. He was sitting across from a man whose face was blurred like someone had gone over it with digital acid.
Kareem was sweating, talking too fast. He doesn't know who he is, I swear. He thinks he's just another hire. We kept his schedule clean, no deviations. The Michael Landry profile passed all audits. The other man leaned in, blurred still, voice distorted. Good, then activate the trigger. I want results before the pilot batch, no more failures. Then it cut out. I sat there for maybe 10 minutes, not blinking, not breathing. The file wasn't about some other guy. It wasn't about a case study. It was about me. They didn't just want to fire me. They were running some kind of experiment, using me, watching me. I wasn't supposed to find the USB. But if I had, they had a plan for that too. I wasn't real to them. Just a simulation in human skin, a prototype, a disposable test subject tagged with a fake name and fed just enough of a life to keep the illusion going. Stratec Holdings wasn't a tech firm. It was a lab, and I was inventory. I burned the clothes I wore that night behind the laundromat, watched the fire eat through polyester and company branding. Then I hitchhiked 2 towns over, found a motel with flickering neon and no surveillance, and collapsed for 12 hours straight. When I woke up, there were 6 missed calls from an unknown number. Then a voicemail, a woman's voice, calm, familiar. Michael, I know you're scared. You weren't supposed to see what you saw, but it's not too late. Come back, and we can fix this. There are things you don't understand yet. We just want to help you. Don't make us come find you. Click. She said my name like it belonged to me, like it was real, like I was still on their leash. But here's the thing. I don't even know my real name. That USB drive, it had something else too. A file buried under layers of temp data. A folder titled REDACTED/42. A scan of a birth certificate. Different name, different state. Picture ID with a face I almost recognized. Mine, but sharper, younger. A memory I don't have. So now I know 2 things. I'm not Michael Landry. Whoever I used to be, they erased him. And if they think I'm walking back through their front door with my hands up, they've already failed their experiment. I'm going to find out who I really am. And when I do, I'm going to burn every version of Michael Landry to the ground. I smashed the motel mirror before I even realized my fist was moving. There's a moment, maybe 2 seconds long, after you hit something where time stutters. Blood doesn't leak yet. Pain doesn't register. Your body just stands there trying to understand what it's done. Then the pain arrives like a shotgun blast. I sat on the edge of the tub, watching a slow drip of red trail down my wrist and wondering if I'd just cracked open someone else's rage. Because the face I saw in that mirror before it shattered, it blinked at the wrong time. I swear to God, it blinked first. I don't know what Strytech did to me, but I'm starting to feel it. The memory holes come at weird times. A street looks familiar even though I've never been there. I wake up in the motel bed with my boots already on. I black out for hours and wake up with fast food wrappers on the floor I don't remember buying. Worse, I found a gun in my backpack yesterday. Not just any gun, a tactical SIG P320. Serial number scrubbed, 3 full mags. I don't own a gun, but it fits my hand like I trained with it. I checked the USB drive again, opened the last folder, REDACTED/42, the one with my real name on the birth certificate, Elias Reed. I didn't recognize the name, but I did recognize the photo that came with it. Surveillance shot, grainy. Elias, me, standing outside a private airfield hangar with 2 men in suits, one of whom had already been scrubbed from Strytech's internal videos. The same blurred face from the Kareem recording. There was a note below the photo, barely legible. Phase 2 compromised. Read flagged unstable. Recommend hard reset. Hard reset. That's what I've been living. They didn't just fake my life, they overwrote it. I started digging into Elias Reed, public records, obits, anything. There's almost nothing. A utility bill from 6 years ago, a hospital record sealed by federal order, and one newspaper clipping from a town in Idaho printed the day after a warehouse explosion that left 7 people dead. One of the victims? Unidentified male, found with a badge for Reed Logistics. My last name. I stared at that article for hours, trying to pull something out of the static. My own memory wouldn't cooperate, like trying to read water, like holding a puzzle piece that doesn't fit anywhere anymore. Then I got another voicemail, this time from Kareem. "You're not the only one who woke up, Reed, but you're the only one still alive. They'll find you, not because of the USB, because of what's already in your head. You need to see the cabin. You'll know which one. Don't trust mirrors. Don't trust time. And for the love of God, don't trust her."
No name, no coordinates. But I knew exactly where to go. That part of me, the Elias part, lit up like a flare. There's a cabin 3 hours north, buried off a fire road nobody uses, under a name nobody remembers. I've never been there. But I have the key. It was sewn into the lining of my boot. I leave at dawn. Something inside me is waking up. A fracture healing in reverse. Each new truth, another bone breaking the wrong way. I don't know who I was before this. I don't know what they did to me. But I know what I'm becoming. And it's something they're terrified of. The key turned before I touched it. That should have been my first warning. The lock clicked on its own, smooth and slow, like it had been waiting for me, like it recognized me, like this place had muscle memory. The cabin was buried so deep in the woods, I lost GPS 2 hours back. No road, just frost-bitten dirt and whispering pines that looked like they'd been holding secrets since the Cold War. The cabin itself was skeletal. Gray wood, tin roof, no windows. More bunker than home. I stepped inside with the gun drawn. It smelled like dust and bleach. Not old dust, new dust, like someone cleaned up fast. One mattress on the floor, one desk, one corkboard nailed to the wall, covered in maps and photos and red string, like something out of a conspiracy nut's fever dream. And in the center, my face. Over and over. Different angles, surveillance shots, driver's license photos under names I don't recognize. Elias Reed, Joshua Miles, Mason Hart. At least 7 lives, all of them mine. There was a note pinned to one photo. My face, shaved head, scar over one eyebrow. Prototype, HOST 42. Deep behavior imprint successful. Regenerative threshold achieved. Monitor for psychic rebound and bleed events. Bleed events? I didn't know what that meant until I found the mirror. In the bathroom, a jagged, half-shattered rectangle propped against the wall. I looked into it. He looked back. The man I was, Elias, leaner, harder, eyes like acid rain. He stared at me like he was disappointed I survived, like I'd screwed up the one thing we agreed on. Die before they use you again. Behind me, in the reflection, was a figure. I spun. Nothing. Turned back. Still there. Her. Same woman from the voicemail. Hair tied back, lab coat. That calm voice that said, "We just want to help you," while holding a scalpel behind her back. In the reflection, she walked toward me. But in the room, silence. I fired. The mirror exploded. Glass everywhere. But not before she whispered one thing, in the reflection. You volunteered. The desk drawer had a hard drive. No label. I plugged it into the old laptop on the floor. One folder.
Do not open unless you remember. Inside, a video. Corrupted, grainy. I hit play. Me, tied to a chair, shirtless, electrodes taped to my chest. Kareem pacing in the background. And that same woman, no longer calm, shouting, "You want revenge? You want to be the match, not the ashes?" Me, nodding, holding up a document. "Sign it. Sign away your name, your past. You want to burn them? You can't be anymore. You'll be a ghost with teeth." Then, static. The feed glitched, distorted, until only one phrase burned across the screen. "You did this to yourself." I sat there until nightfall, staring at the gun in my lap. I volunteered. I wanted to forget, to disappear, to become whatever monster could finally break them. Stray-Tech didn't steal me. They just delivered what I asked for. So now, I have a choice. Stay buried, pretend I can build a life from ashes and static, or finish what I started. Tomorrow, I head south, back to Stray-Tech, back to the lab. Not to hide, to detonate. I walked through the front doors of Stray-Tech like I owned the place. Not because I wasn't afraid. I was shaking so hard the gun pressed to my spine felt like a heartbeat. But because I knew something they didn't. I'd already died for them once. And tonight, I'd do it again, on my terms. The night shift guard looked up as I crossed the lobby, recognition flickering in his eyes. Too late. I was already past the checkpoint, already inside the elevator, already riding to level -3, the floor they never put on the map. The lab wasn't what I expected. No blinking lights, no vats of glowing fluid, just white floors, humming servers, and the faint sound of breathing. Dozens of people in glass cells, some asleep, some pacing, some staring blankly like their minds had been yanked out and replaced with dial tones. I knew them, not their names, but their faces, because they were mine. Clones? Copies? Variants? I don't know the word for it, but they were me, or versions of me, every possibility Stray-Tech had wrung out of my DNA. One with a limp, one with a scar across his jaw, one missing both eyes but whispering my name as I walked by. That's when I saw her, the woman from the videos, from the voicemails, in the observation room. She didn't flinch as I raised the gun, just said, "You're the only one who came back." I asked her what I was. She said one word, bait. It had never been about me surviving, not about wiping my memory, not even about revenge. They'd let me go on purpose. They wanted to see what I'd do, who I'd become. Whether a man with no name, no past, and no limits could find his way back, and what he'd burn when he did. "You're the control group," she said, her voice almost tender. "The others are unstable, violent, but you found pain and used it. You created your own legend." She stepped forward, no fear. You passed. And that's when I realized the final twist. I wasn't here to destroy Stray-Tech. I was here to replace it. The real project wasn't to create weapons. It was to choose one. They wanted a ghost with a spine, a martyr with blood on his hands, someone who could vanish into myth and still follow the scent of a lie all the way home. And they found him. Me. I shot her anyway. I didn't do it for revenge. I did it because she thought she still had control. As the alarms blared and red lights sliced the room like knives, I grabbed one of the servers from the wall and ran. The other versions, the other me's, watched as I passed. Some reached toward me. Some turned their backs. One whispered, "Burn it all." Outside, dawn was breaking. I got into the car I'd stolen 2 days ago and didn't look back. Not at the fire, not at the screams, not at the building crumbling under the weight of its own secrets. I'm not Elias, not Michael, not Host 42. I'm what happens when you push a man past his last version of truth and expect him to stay broken. I'm the final experiment. And now, I'm free.